Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Manta Trends webinar series. My name is Ivy Lamb, and I'll be your host for today's event, Creative Holiday Marketing Tips for Small Businesses. We are so glad you decided to join us today. The holidays offer a really great opportunity to connect with your customers, but as we all know, it's also a very hectic time. You and your customers might be breaking out in hives just thinking about Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, Cyber Monday, Christmas, or all of the above. Don't worry. Today, we're going to go over some simple, actionable steps for crafting an irresistible marketing message that will draw your customers in this holiday season. Before we get started, I'd like to thank Avalara for sponsoring today's event. I'd also like to just cover a few housekeeping items before we dive in. First of all, during the webinar, you should see a slide area which will allow you to view the webinar. You'll also see 3 tabs: Ask a Question, Attachments, and Rate This. Click on the Ask a Question tab to submit a question at any time during the webinar, and we're going to get to those questions at the end of the event. Under the Attachments tab, you'll find more resources related to today's topic, so go check those out. And you can go to Rate This to leave us feedback on today's presentation. You can also tweet about today's event using the hashtag MantaTrends. Now, if you're having technical difficulties with listening to or viewing the webinar, please email webinarhelp@manta.com. We can't respond to you directly under the Ask a Question tab, but my colleague Graham is keeping an eye on that email inbox. So again, if you're having technical problems, email webinarhelp@manta.com. Okay, I'm very excited to introduce our guest expert today, Ivana Taylor. She is the publisher of DIYmarketers.com, a resource for entrepreneurs and small business owners who want to do less marketing and make more money. She's listed as one of the most influential people in small business by Dun & Bradstreet, and in 2010, she ranked 21 out of 30,000 of Fast Company's influential people on the internet. She's also the book editor for Small Business Trends, a contributing author to Amex Open Forum, and has appeared on MSNBC. Today, she's going to talk about how you can get creative with your holiday marketing, but without losing sight of who you're talking to and why. So starting with that foundation, we'll move on to how to craft your holiday marketing message and how to focus on the right channels. And then last but not least, Ivana is going to share some of her favorite marketing tools and resources. And then again, as I mentioned earlier, don't go anywhere because we are saving some time at the end to answer your questions. And as a reminder, you can submit your question anytime under the Ask a Question tab, and we'll get to those at the end of the event during our Q&A session. So with that, I'll hand things over to you, Ivana.
Thanks, Ivy, and hello, everyone. I am so happy that you guys took the time to do this. Those of you who are here live are in for a special treat because I'm going to share some of these super strategies that take some really, really complex marketing ideas and make them really, really simple. So let's just dive right in. I'm actually going to move through this somewhat quickly because I really want to make sure that we have time for your questions, because that is really what I'm here to do, is help you answer some questions. So let's begin with the main issue, right? It's already October. I don't know how many of you have actually heard holiday music. I was watching something the other day and I heard holiday music already, and I'm not going to lie, I sort of got this little thing in the pit of my stomach. It is so hard to sell to people who are stressed and distracted and overwhelmed, and messages are everywhere. And how are you going to get people to pay attention to you and your business? That's what we're going to really, really focus on today, how you can actually stand out in the sea of sameness and how you can actually be a welcome respite to the stressed out holiday shopper. And the way you really do this is by starting with your who and your why, okay? And I'm going to say something that you're not going to believe is going to come out of the mouth of a marketing person. But I firmly believe that when you're a small business owner, you are the center of your business. Everything that you do and who you are spills into over to your employees, into how you run your business. And this whole idea, it's important to focus on your customer, but one of the things I always say is people are actually buying a connection with you first. So that's why my first tip is to really, really take the time to connect with why you do what you do. I like to say, what are you committed to inside of your business, right? This isn't just something for big brands. Small business owners can really, really benefit from setting aside some time to focus on their why, because people buy your why and not your what. If you've heard that Simon Sinek talk, if you haven't, check it out. It's on TED. Really, really powerful stuff. The second thing you're going to want to do is, again, invest the time to highlight and identify your ideal customer and that persona, that profile, okay? And then focus on the how you're going to deliver. And I'm going to give you some tools that's going to make that happen for you. But I really want to think about, when you think about your why, so here's some little helpful tips. I hope you guys have like a pen and paper. You might want to jot this down. When you're thinking about the why you do what you do, ask yourself, what am I committed to inside of my business, right? Maybe if you have a pizza shop, you might be committed to serving up gourmet, delicious pizza fast, or, helping hungry, busy families. I don't know. Why do you do what you do? What is your inner purpose and your inner drive? Believe it or not, this is really important because only you are your business. There is no competition. Only you and your employees are the heart and soul of your business, and no one is like you by definition. That's why I have a little thumbprint as my logo. You are unique by definition. What really sets you apart is your why. So really take some time to think about that, and you might even want to chat with your employees about that. The second thing is to understand exactly who your ideal customer is. Here is a wonderful tip I got from David Newman, who wrote the book Do It Marketing, and he likes to say your ideal customer is the person that is really hungry for what you offer. They are the person who is so bad at what you do so well. So imagine if you're a CPA, who would be so bad other than a marketing person at numbers and crunching numbers and reporting on numbers? Maybe it's an artist, right? Somebody that just doesn't like dealing with money and reporting, right? So that would be an ideal customer persona. And then finally, you want to focus on how you're going to deliver your offer to that person. So it takes a little bit of thinking. We're not going to solve the problems of the world in this session, but those are the super 3 secret questions that you've got to pay attention to. And then we're ready to craft that offer and that magical message. Now, in the attachments, I've given you these worksheets. And the first one is an irresistible offer table, and the second one is your 5 messaging questions. When I tell you what these 5 messaging questions are, you're going to see them everywhere in every infomercial. You know what I'm talking about. Number 1 question, of course, is who is your ideal customer? Okay, so remember that person that is so bad at what you do so well. And the second question is, what problem are you solving for them? What is the problem that they are dealing with when it comes to whatever it is that you're selling? Number 3 is, what is their perceived notion of how this problem is solved? Now, I use the words perceived notion for a very, very specific reason, and that is because you want to understand, how do they think they're supposed to solve this problem? Like, what do they think the solution is, right? And then, how does the industry say that they're supposed to solve this problem, right? Let's say if we're talking about weight loss, right? They think they have to starve themselves and maybe they have to exercise for hours on end. And the industry says, eat less, move more. And then finally, the fifth important question is, how do you believe this problem is solved? And remember, this is where your why comes to play. How do you believe this problem is solved? Now, this is in the handout. I'm only going over it very, very quickly, but I wanted to sort of explain how those 5 questions worked. So that's your first one. And then the second one is the irresistible offer table. What you want to do here is and again, this is in the handout in the attachment section. What you want to do is you want to make a list of all the things your customers want, right? Like if you're a CPA, what does your customer want that's so bad at what you do well? They want to understand how much money they're making. Maybe they want to understand what their hour is worth. Maybe they want to understand how much money they made or what products they should be selling. All of these things should be in the I want section. The second next to that is what you offer. How do you deliver on what they want? Right? Maybe there's some special report that you do. Maybe there's a way that you categorize things. How do you deliver on what the customer wants? The third section is what I call the proof section. Here you might want to put some testimonials, or maybe you want to put some data or some research information, right? And finally, there is the wow factor. Maybe there's something really interesting that you can do that's going to take your offer to the next level. And then once you have all of those, now you can start putting a brand together, finding the images. You can see how easy this gets, but I definitely want to make sure that you understand the power of the hashtag. Pick a hashtag, like even this one is Manta Trends. You can pick a hashtag around which to have a conversation. Maybe your hashtag might be like holiday stress or holiday fail or something. Make it bright, make it fun, get it engaging so that you can get people talking about what's going on. And then finally, you want to definitely complete your how, right? And you do that by choosing your top 3 channels. Notice I didn't say be everywhere. You want to choose the channels that integrate where you are, where you enjoy being, and where your customer is. So you definitely want to make sure that you are having that engagement, whether it's face-to-face, if you have a retail location or a brick-and-mortar store, and maybe you go out visiting people. One of my clients loves to do face-to-face. They do a lot of community outreach. He's an elder law attorney, and one of the things he does is he goes out to the local nursing homes, and he delivers presents, and he delivers all of these kinds of things because his why is to help the aging community. That's why he's in business. He's there to help them. So everything he does goes to fulfill on that. You can use email. If you have an email newsletter, you can use email in a really creative way to provide offers, maybe helpful tips, educate your customers on how to do certain things or how to maybe get around the holidays and all the holiday stress. The people who help are the people who get chosen. So never be stingy with your help. Give, give, give to get, right? And one of the things I typically say is don't choose more than 2 social channels. Pick a couple, whether it's Facebook, whether it's email, pick a couple that work together. And whatever you do, make sure that you are focused on mobile. So many people are on mobile. They're purchasing on mobile. They're finding you on mobile, right? So make sure that you do that. I didn't mention in this slide, but you definitely want to make sure that you have, no matter what your business, take advantage of Google reviews. More and more statistics are coming out is that the more reviews you get, the more money you make. So this is definitely an opportunity. And reviews and great experiences, again, come from having a clear why and focusing to a specific customer. So definitely focus on that. And now I want to show you some of the tools that I use to get a lot of things done to achieve a lot of engagement. The first one you may have heard of, Canva.com. It is free, and you can make beautiful designer images. I was just complimenting the folks here at at Manta on what great images they have, and I know that sometimes they'll use Canva for infographics. This is stuff that even if you're not a designer, you're going to look like a designer. I actually want to talk about lead quizzes a little bit. You guys, this is so much fun. It's super affordable. You can create really fun quizzes that center around your business, and that drives engagement up and it gets people on your email list. So it's a great way to build your email list and get customer engagement and maybe gather a little bit of research at the same time. Another one is, again, relating to your why. If you want to drive engagement and maybe do some promotions, there is a platform out there called Thunderclap. I think I've used it once, but I know several people who have used it very, very successfully. This is especially great. Maybe you're doing something for a charity over the holidays. If you're doing some kind of charitable work, if maybe you're collecting something for the homeless or you're doing something for older people or whatever, Thunderclap is a wonderful way to spread the word about your mission. Okay. Then you've got Test My Marketing. This is really fantastic. You can submit your marketing campaign for some feedback, which is really, really wonderful. I'm not going to go on and on. GIFs are really powerful. I definitely want to bring up the GIF app because it is so much fun to share GIFs. People love them. And not going to lie, kittens always work. Always work. And another one I kind of want to mention that I've used a little bit is, I don't know if it's Virule or Vrule, but it's a video platform, and it's just a wonderful way to distribute your content to your targeted audience. So there's so many wonderful tips and tools that you can use. I advocate all of these, but I would say, ones that you can use quickly and right away with limited learning curve: Canva, lead quizzes, and definitely Thunderclap. I would definitely recommend something like Test Your Marketing, which is just it's just a wonderful low-cost way to see if you're on the right track with your message. And so there you have it, quick and dirty. We are already at the Q&A session, so I am ready to answer any and all of your questions.
Thank you, Ivana. I just want to mention to everyone in the audience, that was a great list of tools and resources. And if you want to go back and review, this webinar is going to be available on demand when this is over. So if you're like, oh, crap, I didn't write down that one thing that Ivana was talking about that I really want to try out, don't worry. We're going to email you the link to the on-demand webinar. You can review any or all part of this at your own leisure. So, Ivana, getting to our questions. The first one I have, I think a lot of small business owners, we think about Small Business Saturday marketing. A lot of people think about traditional, like retail shops. But what if someone has a service-based business? How can they use some of the tips you've shared?
Exactly. If you have a service-based business, one of the things I typically say, and this is kind of odd, right? If you have a product business, one of the things I'm always finding that I'm saying to people, take your product and juice up the service. And if you have a service business, you kind of want to productize it. So one of my tips is take a look at the service that you're offering and try to create a little Christmas offer, like a little value kit or a little startup kit or something. Let me give you an example. I have a friend who is a bookkeeper, and one of the things that she does for the holidays is she creates this. Remember, this is something she does all day long, right? She's a bookkeeper. And so one of the things that she has a system for is doing like a simple little report, right? So what she does is she created a little offer and said for all her customers, she is happy to do up a quick and dirty profit and loss statement for you or something like that. Some little thing that she can do as a service that's easy for her but holds a lot of value to her customers, right? Another thing you can do as a service business is also offer, I like to say, this applies to retail as well, one of my favorite tips is to give people a sort of maybe like a breakthrough session, or like give them a little taste of your service, or if they're already buying something from you, give them the opportunity to explore some other level of service, right? So if you're, I don't know why I'm hung up on CPAs and accountants these days, but maybe because it's coming to the end of the year, it's planning time. But like, let's say if you are in the financial industry, you can say, well, I've been doing payroll for you, but look at this very cool report thing, and I'm happy to do this, or I'm happy to do a session for you, like a free little session of some sort. Maybe you're a decorator or something. You can kind of offer a little audit or like a little walk through a house and give them simple design tips or something like that. So just look for ways that you can productize your service. How do you take your service and give people a taste? I hope that helps.
Definitely. Thank you, Ivana. So we have someone who's asking about the GIFs. You just recommended a great tool for making those, and those are kind of like when you look online, you see those little videos that sort of loop over and over. That's a GIF. And we have someone who's wondering how would they use those? Can you give an example of what we would create as a roofing company?
That's really fun, right? So one of the things you can do with GIFs is you can take a variety of images, just images that you take over, like pictures, and you can create a movie out of them. Now, there are apps. I happen to have one on my phone. I'm going to check my phone. I can't remember what it's called, but there are apps that you can get on your phone that will create GIFs from images. So imagine this, if you're a roofing company, because I just had my roof done this year, and one of the things I did is I took pictures, from the beginning, from my ugly roof to where they tore the roof down to where they put the new roof back up, right? And imagine you can splice all those images together and make them loop, right? So that would be really fun. So that shows someone something from a start to a finish. If you're a hairdresser, you could do the same thing. So GIFs are really fun in giving people a sampling of how your product or service works.
Mm-hmm. Great. Thanks for those examples, Ivana. We have someone else who's wondering, how do you come up with the most creative email marketing strategies?
Well, email marketing is it really stems from your own personality, and I'm going to give you my secret hack for that. I like to subscribe to a variety of different people. I subscribe to people whose products I like, whose services I like, and actually one of my favorites, I'm going to send you to this website here, it's digitalmarketers.com or digitalmarketerlab.com. That's run by Ryan Dice, and he does a lot of work with email marketing, and they have sequences and templates that you can use. So the tip is basically, don't try to kill yourself. Don't reinvent the wheel. There are tools, there are templates, and you can literally take a campaign. If you sign up for somebody's email and they start sending you emails all the time and you like that, you can literally, I'm going to use let's call it adapt, right? Because copying isn't going to work because they're probably not selling what you're selling, but you can definitely adapt the way they write their emails, the things they say in their emails, and what they share in their emails. So if you like it, and you think your customers will like it, you can definitely adapt that. Don't be afraid to adapt what's working for someone else in your business. It's a great money saver.
So we have another question here from an audience member, and I think a lot of our other audience members are going to identify this, but they're asking, how does a brick-and-mortar specialty retailer deal with the growing trend to be used as a showroom? We are a longtime specialty retailer who often loses local customers to web sellers who are simply selling our products for a little less online. Any comments?
Well, it really does go right. See, if you are a brick-and-mortar seller and you're selling these products and you're focused on the products, remember, it's not about the product. So the first thing you're going to have to do, right, is make it easy for people to purchase the products you have online. So you definitely want to make sure that the website you have is online purchase friendly. And I don't know if you have a WordPress website, that's one I recommend because there are all kinds of e-commerce plugins that make it so easy, even if you're not technical, to put your products online. So you definitely want, think about it. I just got something from a brand. They sent me this cake from St. Louis. So I actually got a cake in the mail. I did not go to St. Louis to buy this from them, right? And then I went on their website and I noticed that they were also selling the cake mix. So I could actually buy the mix. I could buy the cake. I could buy the mix. All from a private retailer. And why? Because they have this unique product. So your job is going to be to make sure to make that product and make sure that your brand and that experience that the customer has purchasing is such that they want to buy it from you. And you have to give them the vehicle, the distribution to buy it from you online.
Yeah, great advice. Thanks, Ivana. So this is a little bit more of a general question, but we have an audience member who says, I have a small appliance repair and sales store, and I'm competing with big box stores. So again, it's maybe similar but slightly different from the online. They're sort of wondering, how do they market their store when they're competing against these much bigger companies?
Well, boy, do I hear that. I live in a small town, and one of the things that I like to do is buy local, and a lot of people like to buy local. So what is it that you offer your customers that the big box store doesn't offer? And that's a level of expertise and service that they're not going to get anywhere else. Remember the why, right? So I know I keep harping on that, but not every customer is your customer. So you have to make sure that you understand exactly what's going to set your store apart. And one of the things you can do is do events for your customers, right? Or you can actually, another really helpful thing you can do that'll bring them to your store, and a lot of folks don't do this, but you really should, is do some helpful YouTube videos on maybe some simple appliance fix-it tips. And that might seem counterintuitive because you want them to call you to fix their appliance, right? But they're going to call you if you give them the help enough to do what they can do on their own, right? So just simply, people are on mobile, people are searching how-to videos. Make sure you put content out there that's going to help them work with their appliance. And I promise you, people will come to that store.
Yeah, so Ivana, actually as a follow-up to the question we were just talking about, and I must have missed this in the first question, but as an addendum to the issue of the online seller, it says that they actually can't sell their products online without violating their dealer agreements. And so people who are selling online may be doing so illegally. So would your advice still hold the same, though, just in terms of distinguishing yourself and making it about the customer experience?
Wow, that is a heck of a trap to be in, isn't it? And once again, I am defaulting to content. I know this is going to seem really interesting to you. And yes, it's a departure from a very product-focused system. But Joe Pulizzi wrote a book a while ago called Content Inc., and I recommend this book to all of you. And the reason I recommend it is that he uses a lot of small Main Street business examples in this book and how they use content, right, and their unique spin on the content to grab audience, build community, and drive conversion. Okay, so I think the key is to your experience issue. It's going to be up to you to put a tilt or a spin on why they need to be in your store and why they need to buy that product from your store. I know this is I know I'm not solving your problem here in 30 seconds, but you're going to have to, I promise that the answer is in the why and the unique customer profile, because if you're selling to a specific customer that values exactly what you offer and why it is that way, those people will come out of the woodwork. I always say you can't sell anything to everyone. The more you focus on the customer and the unique way you solve their specific problem, the more of them will come out of the woodwork and you'll get what you want.
Great. Well, that's about all the time we have for Q&A today, unfortunately. But I want to let everybody know that if we couldn't get to your question, please find Ivana on Twitter. She's very active. You can find her at DIY Marketers. And, let's continue the conversation there because you all had really great questions. And again, if you want to review, this webinar will be on demand within 24 hours. Be sure to check out that attachment tab I talked about at the beginning of the webinar where you can find Ivana's worksheets plus some other materials from our sponsor. And Ivana, thank you so much for generously sharing your time and expertise with us today. We are so thankful.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm really, really happy to be there, and I want to second that. You guys reach out to me on Twitter. You can head on over to DIYmarketers.com. You'll see my email there, Ivana@DIYmarketers.com. Send me questions. I am here to help you as much as I can. I'll point you in the right direction.
Great. And as we're wrapping up here, I also just want to say thank you one more time to our sponsor, Avalara, for making this webinar possible today. Everyone, we really hope you've enjoyed today's presentation.